Decision theory, at its core, is a scientific discipline that seeks to understand and formalize the process of making choices under conditions of uncertainty. It provides a rigorous mathematical framework for evaluating options and selecting the most favorable course of action when outcomes are not known with certainty. The principles of decision theory have found broad applications in fields as diverse as economics, medicine, engineering, artificial intelligence, and everyday life. By employing mathematical models, decision theory enables individuals and organizations to navigate complex environments, weigh risks and benefits, and strive for optimal outcomes even in the face of incomplete information. At the heart of decision theory lies the recognition that uncertainty pervades almost every aspect of human existence. Rarely do we possess perfect knowledge about the consequences of our actions or the state of the world. Instead, we must contend with unknown variables, unpredictable events, and the limitations of our own perceptions. Decision theory addresses this challenge by representing uncertain events through probabilities, allowing us to quantify our beliefs about how likely different outcomes are. These probabilities may be derived from historical data, expert judgment, or subjective assessments, depending on the context and available information. The mathematical machinery of decision theory is built upon several fundamental concepts. First, there is the notion of a decision problem, which consists of a set of possible actions or strategies, a set of possible states of the world, which may be unknown or only partially known, and a set of outcomes that result from the interaction between actions and states. Each outcome is assigned a value, often called a utility, which reflects the decision-maker's preferences or objectives. The goal is to select the action that maximizes expected utility, a weighted average of the utilities of all possible outcomes, where the weights are given by the probabilities of those outcomes occurring. This approach, known as expected utility theory, was formalized in the mid-20th century by mathematicians such as John von Neumann and Oscar Morgenstern. Their work provided a normative model of rational choice under uncertainty, specifying how an idealized decision-maker should behave if they wish to maximize their long-term satisfaction or well-being. The elegance of expected utility theory lies in its generality. It can be applied to any situation where outcomes are uncertain and preferences can be quantified, from gambling at a casino to investing in financial markets or choosing a medical treatment. However, the application of decision theory is not limited to abstract mathematical models. In practice, real-world decision-makers often face additional challenges, such as incomplete or ambiguous information, cognitive biases, and computational constraints. To address these issues, decision theorists have developed a rich array of tools and techniques, including Bayesian inference, decision trees, dynamic programming, and robust optimization. Each of these methods offers a way to structure complex decision problems, incorporate new information as it becomes available, and adapt strategies in response to changing circumstances. Bayesian decision theory, for example, extends the basic framework by allowing decision makers to update their beliefs in light of new evidence. This is accomplished through Bayes' theorem, which provides a systematic way to revise probabilities as additional data is observed. Bayesian methods are particularly powerful in situations where uncertainty is high and information is scarce, such as diagnosing rare diseases or forecasting the impact of emerging technologies. By continuously refining probability estimates, Bayesian decision-makers can improve their choices over time and respond flexibly to unforeseen developments. Decision trees are another widely used tool in decision analysis. A decision tree is a graphical representation of a decision problem, where each branch corresponds to a possible action or event, and each leaf node represents a final outcome with its associated utility. By systematically exploring the branches of the tree, decision makers can visualize the consequences of different choices, identify critical points of uncertainty, and calculate the expected utilities of alternative strategies. Decision trees are especially useful for multi-stage problems, where decisions must be made sequentially and earlier choices influence later options. Dynamic programming is a related technique that is particularly well-suited to decision problems involving multiple stages or time periods. In dynamic programming, the overall problem is decomposed into smaller sub-problems, each of which can be solved independently. The solutions to these sub-problems are then combined to yield an optimal strategy for the entire decision process. This approach is widely used in operations research, control theory, and artificial intelligence, where it enables efficient computation of optimal policies in complex, high-dimensional environments. Robust optimization is yet another extension of decision theory that seeks to address the limitations of probabilistic models. In many cases, the probabilities of different outcomes are themselves uncertain or difficult to estimate accurately. Robust optimization techniques aim to find strategies that perform well across a range of possible scenarios, rather than relying on precise probability estimates. This is particularly valuable in situations where the stakes are high and the costs of failure are severe, such as disaster planning, cybersecurity, or environmental management. Beyond these technical tools, decision theory also provides insights into the psychological and social dimensions of decision-making. Behavioral decision theory, for instance, studies how real people make choices in practice, often deviating from the prescriptions of normative models. Research in this area has revealed a host of systematic biases and heuristics that shape human judgment, such as overconfidence, loss aversion, and the tendency to overweight recent experiences. Understanding these biases is crucial for designing interventions, policies, and decision support systems that help individuals and organizations make better choices. The applications of decision theory are virtually limitless. In economics, decision theory underpins much of modern microeconomic and game theory, providing a foundation for understanding markets, bargaining, and strategic interactions. In medicine, it informs clinical decision-making by helping doctors and patients weigh the risks and benefits of different treatments. In engineering and project management, decision theory guides the allocation of resources, the scheduling of tasks, and the management of uncertainty in complex systems. In artificial intelligence, it forms the basis for algorithms that enable machines to learn, plan, and act autonomously in uncertain environments. One of the most compelling aspects of decision theory is its ability to integrate diverse sources of information and reconcile competing objectives. In many real-world problems, decision-makers must balance multiple goals, such as maximizing profit while minimizing risk, or achieving social welfare while respecting individual autonomy. Multi-criteria decision analysis extends the basic framework by allowing for trade-offs among different objectives, using techniques such as weighted scoring, utility functions, and Pareto optimization. This enables more nuanced and flexible decision-making, tailored to the specific values and priorities of the stakeholders involved. Another important dimension of decision theory is its capacity to handle collective decision-making. In organizations, governments, and societies, decisions are rarely made by a single individual. Instead, they emerge from the interactions of multiple actors with differing preferences, information, and power. Social choice theory and mechanism design are branches of decision theory that study how to aggregate individual preferences into collective choices, design incentives to align individual and group interests, and ensure fairness, efficiency, and stability in social systems. These insights are crucial for addressing challenges such as voting, resource allocation, and the provision of public goods. Despite its many strengths, decision theory is not without limitations. One major challenge is the difficulty of specifying accurate probabilities and utilities in complex, uncertain environments. In practice, decision-makers often rely on rough estimates, rules of thumb, or qualitative judgments, which may not fully capture the true risks and rewards of different options. Moreover, the computational demands of solving large-scale decision problems can be prohibitive, especially when the number of possible actions, states, and outcomes grows exponentially. Advances in computational methods, machine learning, and data analytics are helping to address these challenges, but they also raise new questions about transparency, interpretability, and accountability in automated decision-making. Ethical considerations also play a central role in the application of decision theory. While mathematical models can help clarify trade-offs and identify optimal strategies, they cannot dictate what values or objectives should guide our choices. Decisions about health, safety, justice, and the environment often involve profound moral questions that go beyond the scope of formal analysis. As such, decision theory should be seen as a tool for supporting, rather than replacing, human judgment and deliberation. By making explicit the assumptions, uncertainties, and value judgments underlying our choices, decision theory fosters greater clarity, consistency, and accountability in decision-making. In summary, the scientific principle of decision theory offers a powerful set of tools for making optimal choices under uncertainty. By modeling decision problems mathematically, quantifying uncertainty through probabilities, and evaluating outcomes using utility functions, decision theory enables individuals and organizations to navigate complexity, manage risk, and pursue their goals more effectively. Its applications span a vast array of domains, from economics and medicine to engineering, policy, and artificial intelligence. At the same time, decision theory invites us to reflect on the limits of rationality, the role of values, and the importance of context in shaping our choices. As we confront increasingly complex and uncertain challenges in the modern world, the insights and methods of decision theory will remain indispensable for guiding wise and responsible action. To further appreciate the depth and versatility of decision theory, it is helpful to examine its historical development and some illustrative examples from various fields. The roots of decision theory can be traced back to the early work of mathematicians and philosophers who grappled with the nature of chance and choice. Blaise Pascal, for instance, famously formulated the concept of expected value in the context of gambling, laying the groundwork for the probabilistic reasoning that would later become central to decision theory. Daniel Bernoulli extended these ideas by introducing the notion of utility, recognizing that individuals value outcomes differently, depending on their personal circumstances and risk preferences. The formalization of decision theory accelerated in the 20th century, particularly with the publication of von Neumann and Morgenstern's Theory of Games and Economic Behavior in 1944. This seminal work established the axiomatic foundations of expected utility theory and demonstrated its applicability to a wide range of economic and strategic situations. Subsequent developments, such as Leonard Savage's theory of subjective expected utility and Kenneth Arrow's impossibility theorem, enriched the conceptual landscape and highlighted the challenges of aggregating individual preferences into collective decisions. One classic example of decision theory in action is the problem of medical diagnosis and treatment. Physicians are routinely faced with uncertainty about a patient's condition and must choose among alternative tests and therapies, each with its own risks, costs, and benefits. By modeling the decision problem as a decision tree, doctors can systematically evaluate the expected outcomes of different strategies, taking into account the probabilities of various diseases, the accuracy of diagnostic tests, and the effectiveness of treatments. This approach not only clarifies the trade-offs involved, but also facilitates shared decision-making between doctors and patients, ensuring that choices align with the patient's values and preferences. In the domain of business and finance, decision theory underpins the analysis of investment decisions, portfolio management, and risk assessment. Investors must decide how to allocate their resources among different assets, balancing the potential for returns against the risk of losses. By modeling the probabilities of different market scenarios and the utilities associated with various outcomes, decision theory helps investors construct portfolios that maximize expected utility subject to their risk tolerance. Techniques such as mean variance optimization, developed by Harry Markowitz, exemplify the practical application of decision-theoretic principles in finance. Engineering and project management offer another fertile ground for decision theory. Large-scale projects, such as the construction of infrastructure or the development of new technologies, involve numerous uncertainties related to costs, timelines, technical feasibility, and external factors. Decision analysis provides a structured framework for identifying key sources of uncertainty, evaluating alternative courses of action, and optimizing resource allocation. Tools such as Monte Carlo simulation, sensitivity analysis, and scenario planning enable managers to anticipate potential risks, assess the robustness of their plans, and make informed choices under uncertainty. Artificial intelligence and machine learning represent a frontier where decision theory continues to play a foundational role. Many AI systems are designed to operate in dynamic, uncertain environments, where they must learn from experience, adapt to changing conditions, and make decisions that maximize long-term rewards. Reinforcement learning, a subfield of machine learning, is explicitly grounded in decision-theoretic principles, modeling the interaction between an agent and its environment as a Markov decision process. By estimating the expected utility of different actions and updating strategies based on feedback, reinforcement learning algorithms can achieve remarkable performance in tasks ranging from game playing to robotics and autonomous driving. The influence of decision theory extends even to the realm of public policy and governance. Policymakers are often confronted with complex, high-stakes decisions that affect large populations and involve significant uncertainty. For example, in responding to public health crises, governments must weigh the costs and benefits of interventions such as vaccination campaigns, quarantine measures, and resource allocation. Decision-theoretic models help policymakers assess the likely impact of different strategies, incorporate data from epidemiological studies, and make transparent the trade-offs involved. By fostering evidence-based decision-making, decision theory contributes to more effective and accountable governance. Despite its many successes, decision theory also faces ongoing challenges and debates. One area of active research concerns the representation and aggregation of uncertainty. While classical decision theory relies on precise probability estimates, real-world uncertainty is often imprecise, ambiguous, or difficult to quantify. Alternative frameworks, such as fuzzy logic, Dempster-Shafer theory, and imprecise probabilities, have been developed to address these limitations, allowing for more flexible modeling of uncertainty. These approaches expand the toolkit of decision analysts and provide new ways to capture the nuances of real-world decision-making. Another important area of inquiry is the study of human behavior and the deviations from rational choice predicted by standard decision theory. Behavioral economists and psychologists have documented a wide range of phenomena, such as framing effects, anchoring, and the endowment effect that challenge the assumptions of expected utility theory. These findings have led to the development of descriptive models, such as prospect theory, which better capture how people actually make decisions under risk and uncertainty. Integrating insights from behavioral science with formal decision-theoretic models is an ongoing endeavor, with implications for fields ranging from marketing and public health to finance and law. The ethical and societal implications of decision theory are also the subject of considerable discussion. As decision-theoretic models are increasingly embedded in algorithmic systems and automated decision-making processes, questions arise about fairness, transparency, and accountability. For instance, when algorithms are used to make decisions about credit, employment, or criminal justice, it is essential to ensure that the underlying models are free from bias and reflect appropriate values. The integration of ethical considerations into decision-theoretic frameworks is an active area of research, involving collaboration among mathematicians, ethicists, computer scientists, and policymakers. Looking to the future, the continued evolution of decision theory will be shaped by advances in data science, computational power, and interdisciplinary collaboration. The proliferation of big data and the development of sophisticated analytics tools are enabling more accurate estimation of probabilities and utilities, as well as the modeling of increasingly complex decision problems. At the same time, the growing recognition of the importance of human factors, ethics, and social context is prompting a more holistic approach to decision analysis, one that combines quantitative rigor with qualitative insight. In conclusion, the scientific principle of decision theory represents a profound achievement in our quest to make sense of uncertainty and to act wisely in the face of complexity. By providing a coherent mathematical framework for structuring decision problems, quantifying uncertainty, and evaluating alternative courses of action, decision theory empowers individuals and organizations to make better choices, manage risks, and achieve their objectives. Its influence spans an extraordinary range of disciplines and applications, and its ongoing development promises to yield even greater insights and capabilities in the years to come. As we navigate the challenges of an increasingly uncertain and interconnected world, the principles and methods of decision theory will remain essential tools for informed, responsible, and effective decision-making.